In the beginning, God created the heavens and He created the earth. He created every living thing upon the earth. Thousands of years later, along comes myself, Ed Waters, and I created Freecircle so I could bring you the fireside. We want to bring you truth with integrity, insight that's right, and stories that matter the most today. So climb on in, buckle up, let's take a ride on the fireside. Alone. Have you ever felt it? This little word, alone, meaning separate, apart, or isolated from others. I want to be alone. That single word has so much meaning to it. And yet, we just simply throw it around, alone, to the exclusion of all others or all else. One cannot live by bread alone. So, it can mean solitary, exclusively, without aid or help. To refrain from annoying or interfering with. The youngsters wouldn't leave the dog alone, and he finally turned and bit them. So, alone, origin of alone, 1250 to 1300, Middle English. So, alone can be used in so many ways. A lot of people don't like to be alone. Alone means you're separate, you're separated from. And that feeling of aloneness can really weigh heavy on some people. And that's why they intentionally put some individuals in isolation for a disciplinary action. Being alone. A lot of people don't like to be alone. Yet on the other hand, it is so healing. It's got a healing to it. It has this therapeutic value to it. Just to sit with yourself. And a lot of people can't do that, be alone with themselves. They have to have a crowd or somebody close. They have to know that there's something, somewhere real close. Someone has to be there. Or else they can't be comfortable. Isolation drives some bonkers. So, isolation is a interesting thing within itself. Some crave to be alone. Others can't stand to be alone. There's a TV series called Alone where they put people in isolation. And some of them can't handle it well, some can. So it's interesting, this uniqueness about the word and the meaning of alone. Sometimes I crave to be alone, and other times I can't stand to be alone. So myself, I'm a teeter-totter with it, as most people generally are. There are those times where people just like to be alone and have themselves for thought or relaxation, other than loneliness of sleep, because that's really not being alone. That's not being cognitive. So being alone can be difficult, but yet at the same time it can be very healing. What about you? Do you like to be alone? It's an interesting question, and I encourage people to actually be alone for a while. Take yourself a hike in the woods, and if you aren't comfortable, make sure you have somebody that knows where you are, how long you're intending to be gone. Make yourself feel a little more comfortable about exploring this feeling of being alone. Because a lot of people, they can't walk down a forest path and feel comfortable. Fears. The fears of this world will make you feel terrible. And it won't allow you to be alone because of your personal fears. And that within itself is an isolation, because you're not able to experience the beauty and the serenity of just going out, finding a spot and listening to nature. There's a therapeutic value to it. So explore yourself. Understand why you don't like to be alone. And fight that. Because what you need to do is experience it. You need to take time and study just being alone. What does it mean to be alone? How does it feel? And I'm not talking about just sitting in your apartment alone or your house alone. I'm talking about getting out and being alone, away from the city, the noise, the lights. Spend a weekend in a primitive campground, ones without porta potties, ones without buildings built on the site. And don't take too many luxuries out with you. Leave your electronic devices at home. Just shut off for a weekend and be alone. You may enjoy it. And right now, in this day and age, I really think some of us need to experience that. Get away from that city, that busy hustle and bustle, and experience a nice, secluded campground for yourself. Because we all need that time sometimes. And if you're all balled up inside and frustrated with the world, maybe that's what you definitely need to do, is find a secluded area and become alone within yourself. It's therapeutic. Well, that's it for another Free Circle Fireside. Thank you for joining us. You can find us on the web at freecircle.website. You can join in on the live shows or leave a message and we'll get your voice out over the message. The call-in line is 971-533-7805. Join Free Circle, get your voice out, and thank you for joining the fireside. Ed, Free Circle, out.